So about a year and a half ago, I had the great fortune to get to do some traveling through Spain, and I absolutely fell in love with the food. One super memorable dish, seafood paella, and since that time, I've learned to cook it at home. Let's do it. Here's what you need. 2 cups of bomba rice, 6 cups of seafood stock, 1 teaspoon saffron threads, 1 red bell pepper, 1 tomato, 1 onion, 8 cloves of chopped garlic, 3 tablespoons chopped parsley, 1 teaspoon thyme, 2 teaspoons sweet smoked paprika, and you'll also need sea salt, 1/3 cup of olive oil, and lemon wedges. For my seafood, I'm using prawns or jumbo raw shrimp, medium raw shrimp, littleneck clams, mussels, and squid. Step 1 is to make a quick sofrito. We'll roughly chop 1 onion, a red bell pepper, and our tomato. Add the veggies to a blender, along with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and blend into a paste. Set this aside. Step 2 is to make our herb paste, which is also going to bring in some foundational flavor to the dish. We'll finely chop about 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley, 8 cloves of garlic, and the thyme. Grab a mortar and pestle or a small bowl and combine the parsley, garlic, thyme, and a pinch of sea salt. Use a pestle to mash the herbs and salt together or a spoon to stir. You'll see it beginning to come together as a paste. Next, stir in the 2 teaspoons of sweet smoked paprika and combine. You can use a little water to help this come into a paste if necessary. Step 3 is to make the saffron broth. It's okay to use a store-bought stock or even chicken broth works. Add 6 cups of stock to a large pot and begin to heat it. When it's close to a boil, add and stir in the teaspoon of saffron. Lower the heat to medium and let it barely simmer. You'll need to keep the broth hot to add to the rice later. Step 4 is to prepare our seafood. Peel the medium shrimp and reserve the shells. Slice the squid into rings. Scrub and purge the clams if necessary, and debeard the mussels. Then salt the shrimp and squid. Once all of your seafood is ready to go, it's time to begin the cook. Grab a stainless steel or aluminum skillet or paella pan and begin to heat it on the stovetop. Once your pan is hot, add 1/3 cup of olive oil to the pan and heat. Season the olive oil generously with sea salt. Now it's time to start building some flavor. Begin by adding the reserved shrimp shells and squid to the pan, and we'll saute these for about 2 minutes. This step will begin to cook the squid, but more importantly, we are pulling in flavor from the shrimp shells and the squid. When you're cooking paella, remember, everything you're doing is with the goal to well flavor your rice. The rice is the star. Now, remove the squid and shrimp shells. Set the squid aside, throw away the shells. Next, it's time to add the sofrito to the pan. This step is pulling in flavors from the onion, pepper, and tomato, which will help season the rice. Mix the sofrito in well with the olive oil and cook it for about 4 to 5 minutes until it thickens a bit and becomes sauce-like. Now, add the squid back into the pan. Mix them into the sofrito and oil. And it's now time to add the 2 cups of rice. Pour the rice into the pan and mix it well into the sofrito and squid. Once well mixed, we're ready to add our hot saffron broth to the paella pan. Once the cooking liquid is in, add the herb paste and stir everything together, being sure to disperse the herb paste and squid throughout the rice as best you can. Now add the clams. You're simply going to place them throughout the pan and sort of push them down into the rice. At this point, as always, taste your broth to gauge your salt level and see if it's necessary to add more. And after this point, don't stir your rice. For the first few minutes, the paella should boil briskly until the rice starts to peak above the surface. Then you'll want to lower your heat so it simmers gently. As the paella is cooking, the short-grained Spanish bomba rice is absorbing all that stock and all of that flavor we've taken time to build in the pan. Continue to simmer for about 10 minutes. When the water is beginning to dissipate, it's time to add the rest of the seafood to the rice. The mussels and shrimp are added toward the end as they cook fast, and you don't want to overcook these. Continue to simmer another 5 to 7 minutes. The cook should take about 20 minutes total. When rice appears to be mostly dry and all visible liquid is gone, turn down the heat and cook for another few minutes to try to achieve the crispy, toasted, caramelized rice on the bottom of the pan, known as socarat. Finally, remove the pan from heat and cover tightly with foil for 10 minutes before serving. Enjoy this paella right from the pan with lemon wedges, family, and a nice Chardonnay. Bon appetit! To make your own yummy seafood stock, combine shrimp shells, clams, and any other shellfish remnants with about 7 cups of water, a cup of dry white wine, and whatever aromatics you have. I used onion, parsley, bay leaf, tomato, rosemary, and pimento. Bring to a boil and simmer for 45 minutes, or cook in a pressure cooker for 4 minutes. Skim off impurities and strain. Use or freeze for use later. Enjoy! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and be sure to subscribe. Recipes posted weekly. To see what I'm cooking daily, tips, and other fun content, join me on social media. I'm at Omni Enthusiast on IG, Facebook, and at omnienthusiast.com.